Join us as we uncover the dark secrets of the apocalypse. The Book of Revelation, the final book of the New Testament, is a rich and complex work of apocalyptic literature. Written by the Apostle John during his exile on the island of Patmos, Revelation offers a vivid and symbolic depiction of the end times and the second coming of Christ. Its Greek title, Apocalypsis, means unveiling or revelation, fitting for a text that seeks to disclose hidden divine mystery. The book begins with a series of letters to 7 churches in Asia Minor, addressing their spiritual conditions and calling for repentance, perseverance, and faithfulness. These letters serve as a prelude to the more dramatic visions that follow, grounding the cosmic events in the real-world struggles of early Christian communities. Central to Revelation are the visions granted to John, filled with symbolic imagery and numerology. Numbers like 7, 12, and 10 appear frequently, each carrying significant theological weight. 7, for instance, represents completeness and perfection, reflected in the 7 churches. 7 seals, 7 trumpets, and 7 bowls. These symbols are not arbitrary. They convey deeper spiritual truths and are meant to be interpreted within the context of biblical tradition and prophetic literature. One of the most striking features of Revelation is its use of symbolic figures and events. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, each representing conquest, war, famine, and death, illustrate the widespread chaos and suffering preceding the final judgment. The 7 seals, opened one by one, unleash a series of catastrophic events that escalate in intensity. The narrative also introduces the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, a symbol of oppressive political power and false prophecy, often interpreted as representing corrupt empires or leaders throughout history. The visions of Revelation are not merely to predict the future. They also serve to reveal the ultimate triumph of good over evil. The book portrays a cosmic battle between the forces of God and Satan, culminating in the defeat of evil and the establishment of a new heaven and a new earth. The imagery of the New Jerusalem, descending from heaven adorned as a bride, symbolizes the restored and purified creation where God will dwell among humanity. This vision of renewal and redemption offers hope and assurance to believers, emphasizing the themes of judgment, salvation, and the sovereignty of God. Interpreting Revelation has been a challenging task for theologians and scholars throughout history. Its rich symbolism and prophetic nature have led to diverse interpretations, ranging from literalist readings that see the text as a roadmap to future events, to allegorical approaches that understand it as a metaphorical representation of the spiritual struggle between good and evil. Despite these varying perspectives, the core message of Revelation remains a call to faithfulness and perseverance, encouraging believers to remain steadfast in the face of trials and tribulations. In essence, the Book of Revelation is a profound and intricate work that combines prophecy, symbolism, and visionary experiences to convey the ultimate victory of God over evil. Its enduring relevance lies in its ability to inspire hope and faith, urging readers to look beyond the present struggles to the promised fulfillment of God's divine plan. Symbolism in the Book of Revelation is a key feature that adds depth and complexity to its apocalyptic narrative. The rich use of symbols serves to convey spiritual truths and divine mysteries, drawing heavily from Old Testament imagery and the broader context of Jewish apocalyptic literature. These symbols are not meant to be taken literally, but rather to evoke deeper meanings and insights about the ultimate reality and the cosmic battle between good and evil. Numbers play a significant role in the symbolic language of Revelation. The number 7, which appears repeatedly, signifies completeness and divine perfection. This is evident in the 7 churches, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, and 7 bowls, each representing different aspects of God's plan and judgment. The number 12 symbolizes the people of God, reflected in the 12 tribes of Israel and the 12 apostles. These numerical symbols help to frame the narrative within a context of divine order and fulfillment. The symbolic figures in Revelation are perhaps its most striking feature. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, each on a different colored horse, represent conquest, war, famine, and death, encapsulating the various forms of suffering that will precede the end time. These figures are not just harbingers of doom, but also serve as reminders of the temporal nature of human power and the ultimate sovereignty of God. The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns is another powerful symbol, often interpreted as representing corrupt political power and false prophet. This beast emerges from the sea, place traditionally associated with chaos and evil in biblical literature. literature, underscoring the threat it poses to divine order. Its counterpart, false prophet, further highlights the theme of deception and the perils of straying from true faith. The symbolism of the seven seals, trumpets, and bowls illustrates the progressive nature of divine judgment. Each seal, trumpet, and bowl unleashes a specific calamity, escalating in intensity and serving as a prelude to the final judgment. These symbols convey the idea that God's justice is both imminent and inevitable, encouraging believers to remain steadfast in their faith. Revelation also uses symbolic imagery to depict the cosmic battle between good and evil. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet and a crown of 12 stars, represents the people of God, protected and sustained by divine power. Her adversary, the dragon, symbolizes Satan, embodying chaos and opposition to God's will. The ensuing battle between the archangel Michael and the dragon portrays the ultimate triumph of good over evil, a central theme of Revelation. The New Jerusalem, described as descending from heaven adorned like a bride, is a powerful symbol of renewal and divine presence. Its description, with 12 gates and foundations inscribed with the names of the 12 tribes and apostles, signifies the unity and completeness of God's people. The city's radiance and purity reflect the glory of God, emphasizing the themes of redemption and the fulfillment of God's promises. Understanding the symbolism in Revelation requires a nuanced approach. As these symbols are multi-layered and interconnected, they draw on a rich tradition of biblical imagery and serve to communicate profound theological truths about the nature of God, the reality of evil, and the hope of salvation. Despite the challenges of interpretation, the symbolic language of Revelation continues to inspire and challenge readers, inviting them to explore the deeper meanings behind the vivid imagery and to reflect on their own spiritual journey. Key prophecies in the book of Revelation are central to its apocalyptic narrative, providing insight into the ultimate fate of humanity and the world. These prophecies are conveyed through vivid and often symbolic imagery, each carrying significant theological and eschatological meaning. One of the most pivotal prophecies is the opening of the seven seals. Each seal, when opened, unleashes a specific event that leads to the end times. First seal reveals a white horse whose rider carries a bow, symbolizing conquest and the spread of power. The second seal brings forth a red horse, representing war and bloodshed. The third seal introduces a black horse, symbolizing famine and economic disparity. The fourth seal reveals a pale horse whose rider is death, followed by Hades, symbolizing widespread death and destruction. Fifth seal presents the souls of martyrs crying out for justice, emphasizing the theme of divine retribution. The sixth seal triggers a series of natural catastrophes, including earthquakes and celestial disturbances, symbolizing the upheaval of the natural order. The seventh seal introduces silence in heaven, followed by the seven trumpets, indicating the gravity of the impending judgments. Another critical prophecy involves the sounding of the seven trumpets. Each trumpet blast heralds a new calamity. First trumpet brings hail and fire mixed with blood, devastating the earth. The second trumpet turns a third of the sea into blood, killing marine life and destroying ships. The third trumpet causes a great star, wormwood, to fall from the sky, poisoning a third of the rivers and springs. The fourth trumpet darkens a third of the sun, moon, and stars, plunging the world into partial darkness. The fifth trumpet unleashes locusts with scorpion-like stings, tormenting those without the seal of God. The sixth trumpet releases 4 angels bound at the Euphrates River, leading to a massive army that kills a third of humanity. The seventh trumpet announces the establishment of God's kingdom, signaling the final phase of divine judgment. The prophecy of the 2 witnesses is another key element in Revelation. These 2 figures, endowed with divine authority, prophesy for 1,260 days, performing miracles and preaching repentance. They are eventually killed by the beast that emerges from the abyss, only to be resurrected and taken up to heaven after 3.5 days. Their death and resurrection symbolize the ultimate victory of God's truth over evil and the certainty of divine justice. The vision of the woman and the dragon is a profound prophecy that encapsulates the cosmic struggle between good and evil. The woman, clothed with the sun and crowned with 12 stars, represents God's people. She gives birth to a male child, symbolizing Christ, who is destined to rule all nations. The dragon, representing Satan, seeks to devour the child but is thwarted and cast down to earth. This prophecy highlights the ongoing battle between the forces of good and and evil, and the ultimate triumph of Christ. Prophecy of the beast from the sea and the beast from the earth introduces the concept of the Antichrist and false prophet. The beast from the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, symbolizes a powerful and blasphemous empire. The beast from the earth performs miraculous signs, deceiving people into worshiping the first beast and receiving its mark. This prophecy warns of a time of great deception and persecution for believers, emphasizing the need for steadfast faith. The final key prophecy is the vision of the new heaven and new earth. After the final judgment, John sees a new creation where God dwells among his people. The New Jerusalem descends from heaven, a city of unparalleled beauty and purity. This vision represents the fulfillment of God's promises, the restoration of creation, and the eternal communion between God and humanity. This prophecy offers hope and assurance, affirming the ultimate victory of God's plan and the promise of eternal life for the faithful. Interpretations of the Book of Revelation have varied significantly throughout history, influenced by the cultural, theological, and historical contexts in which they emerged. Early Christians saw Revelation primarily as a source of hope and encouragement during times of persecution. The symbolic language and vivid imagery were understood as promises of Christ's imminent return and the ultimate victory over evil. This eschatological perspective was particularly significant during the Roman Empire's oppressive rule, providing solace to believers who faced martyrdom and suffering. During the Middle Ages, interpretations of Revelation took on a more allegorical approach. Medieval theologians like Augustine of Hippo argued that the book should not be read as a literal prophecy of future events, but as an allegory of the ongoing spiritual struggle between good and evil. This view held that the events described in Revelation were symbolic of the Christian experience, the Church's trials and triumphs throughout history. The beast was often seen as representing corrupt political or religious institutions, and the New Jerusalem symbolized the ultimate triumph of the Church. Protestant Reformation brought a significant shift in the interpretation of Revelation. Reformers like Martin Luther and John Calvin viewed the book through the lens of their conflict with the Roman Catholic Church. They identified the papacy and the Catholic Church as the beast and the false prophet, interpreting Revelation as a critique of what they saw as the corruption and apostasy within the Church. This polemical interpretation reinforced the Reformers' call for a return to what they considered the true teachings of Christianity and played a crucial role in the development of Protestant eschatology. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the rise of dispensationalism introduced a new method of interpreting Revelation. Dispensationalists, like John Nelson Darby and Cyrus Scofield, emphasized a literal and futurist reading of the text. They divided history into distinct dispensations or periods, each marked by different divine covenants and interventions. According to this view, the events described in Revelation are yet to occur and will unfold in a predetermined sequence, culminating in the second coming of Christ and the establishment of his millennial kingdom. This interpretation has been particularly influential in evangelical and fundamentalist Christian circles, shaping contemporary views on prophecy and time. The 20th century also saw the development of preterist and idealist interpretations. Preterists argue that most of the events described in Revelation were fulfilled in the first century, particularly with the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. They view the book as a message of comfort to early Christians, assuring them of God's sovereignty and the vindication of his people. Idealists, on the other hand, interpret Revelation as a symbolic representation of the ongoing struggle between good and evil throughout history. They see the book's themes and images as timeless truths applicable to all Christians, rather than predictions of specific future events. In recent decades, postmodern and literary approaches to Revelation have gained prominence. These interpretations focus on the text's rhetorical and narrative structures, exploring how its imagery and symbolism communicate broader theological and ethical messages. Scholars in this tradition often emphasize the book's critique of empire and its call for radical discipleship and faithfulness in the face of oppression and injustice. Throughout history, the Book of Revelation has been a source of inspiration and controversy, its rich symbolism and complex imagery lending itself to diverse and often conflicting interpretations. Whether viewed as a literal roadmap to the end times, an allegorical narrative of the Christian journey, or a prophetic critique of contemporary social and political realities, Revelation continues to captivate and challenge readers, inviting them to explore its depths and discern its meaning for their lives. The modern-day significance of the Book of Revelation extends across various aspects of contemporary contemporary thought and life, influencing theology, culture, politics, and personal spirituality. In theology, Revelation remains a crucial text for eschatology, study of end times. Its vivid imagery and prophetic visions continue to shape beliefs about the future, the return of Christ, and the final judgment. Many Christians find in Revelation a source of hope and assurance, and out believing that despite the chaos and suffering in the world, a divine plan is unfolding that will culminate in the ultimate victory of good over evil. Culturally, Revelation has had a profound impact on literature, art, music, and film. Its dramatic scenes and symbols, such as the four horsemen of the Apocalypse, the Beast, and the New Jerusalem, have inspired countless works of fiction and visual art. These representations often explore themes of destruction and renewal, reflecting society's anxieties and hopes. For instance, apocalyptic and post-apocalyptic genres in movies and novels frequently draw on imagery and motifs from Revelation, creating a narrative framework for addressing contemporary fears about war, environmental catastrophe, and social collapse. Politically, Revelation's influence can be seen in various movements and ideologies throughout history and continuing into modern times. Leaders and activists have invoked the book's imagery to frame their struggles and aspirations. Some view current events through the lens of Revelation, interpreting political conflicts, natural disasters, and technological advancements as signs of the end times. This perspective can shape public policy and political discourse, particularly in regions where religious beliefs are deeply integrated into societal structures. On a personal level, Revelation holds significant spiritual meaning for many believers. It challenges individuals to reflect on their faith, their moral choices, and their relationship with God. The book's message of perseverance and faithfulness amidst trials resonates with those facing personal hardships, providing a sense of purpose and direction. Promise of a new heaven and new earth offers comfort and inspiration, encouraging believers to maintain hope and continue striving for a better world. Revelation's modern-day significance is also evident in the rise of various interpretative communities and movements. Evangelical and fundamentalist groups, in particular, have developed detailed eschatological frameworks based on a literal reading of the text, such as dispensationalism. These interpretations often emphasize the imminence of Christ's return and the need for preparedness, influencing religious practices, evangelism, and mission work. Conversely, other Christian traditions adopt more symbolic or allegorical readings, focusing on the book's ethical and spiritual lessons rather than predictive element. Moreover, Revelation's emphasis on the cosmic struggle between good and evil has universal appeal, transcending religious boundaries. Its themes of justice, redemption, and the ultimate triumph of righteousness resonate with a broad audience, including those who may not adhere to a particular faith tradition. This broader appeal underscores the book's enduring relevance and its ability to speak to the human condition in profound ways. In the context of global crises such as climate change, pandemics, and geopolitical instability, Revelation offers a framework for understanding and responding to these challenges. Its apocalyptic vision can serve as a metaphor for societal transformation, urging humanity to confront existential threats and work towards a more just and sustainable future. By interpreting Revelation in light of contemporary issues, believers and non-believers alike can find meaning and motivation to address the urgent problems facing the world today. The book of Revelation continues to captivate and inspire, its modern-day significance rooted in its rich symbolism, profound themes, and enduring message of hope and renewal. Whether through theological reflection, cultural expression, political engagement, or personal spirituality, Revelation remains a vital and dynamic part of the contemporary landscape, offering insights and inspiration for navigating the complexities of modern life.